Let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
Stop!
That's the signal! Go! Go!
6!
It's beautiful!
Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you here on a Thursday. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com or the Rush Radio Android app or the TuneIn app, thank you so much for bringing us into your Apple CarPlay or your Android Auto device. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like. Start leaving your comments in the comment section. And, of course, you can follow us on our social media channels, X, Facebook, and Instagram. Live from parts in the wilderness in Canada for the second time this year. It looks like a cold Ross Peterson.
You know, I'm not as cold as I look. I'll be honest. I'm really not. I'm bundled up just to prevent getting cold. And this jacket has that look of like being a giant parka, and it's more of just kind of like a windbreak. So I look a lot colder than I am. It's probably 55, something like that, I'm guessing. Not freezing.
That's crisp. That's a nice, crisp, cool morning.
It's a fall morning here in the great Northwoods. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting how just a couple of months could make a difference, because when you were there a couple months ago and you would start the show, the sun was already up. I mean, you could see behind you. Yeah. It was a glorious sunset, and I think or sunrise rather. We're gonna see a glorious sunrise this morning. But it wouldn't get dark till like 10, 11 o'clock at night. What time did it get dark last night?
We landed on the island about 7 and had dinner, and by the time we got out here to the cabin, the stars were out by the time we walked on the deck.
Now, wow.
We didn't get that gorgeous, unbelievable explosion of stars last night because some cloud cover rolled in before it cleared up. So we just called it kind of an early night last night after driving up and getting ready for first day of fishing.
First day of fishing. That's what it's all about. Now, are the women going to go fishing too? Or are they going to hang out on the deck and drink mimosas and
where the white women
Bloody
at?
Mary?
We'll find out. I think that they're fishing. They claim they're fishing all 3 days. They both have said we're game. They're going to try for their varsity letters today or on Saturday.
Oh, it's a varsity letter type of trip.
It's a varsity tournament. 3 days of varsity fishing, co-ed tournament.
Now, in the fishing tournament, is it couples against couples? Is it men against women? Or is it kind of like a Ryder Cup type thing? Like today it's women against men. Tomorrow it's couples against couples.
So I think it's more of us versus them. And by us, I mean humans and them being walleye. Okay? It's us versus them today out there. At some point, I imagine it'll turn into some sort of competition with we'll put the ladies in the boat with Gary and the boys will go out and have fun. Well,
any trouble getting across the border yesterday? Any good border stories?
No, nothing, man. Yesterday was a pretty easy day. You know what I did yesterday? That most of the day yesterday was spent watching or listening to, rather, because I was driving, documentaries. Finished up the Charlie Sheen documentary. Wow. And then I watched one that apparently is pretty old, but is even crazier. Crazy. It's called The Most Hated Man on the Internet. Does that one ring a bell to you, Trav, at all?
Oh, that could be a wide range of people. The most hated man on the internet.
I'd never heard of this guy, and I'd never heard of this guy, and it's hideous what this dude did. He had a website. I'll fix that when we take the break. I'll brace my cameras.
Don't worry about it. Most people listening can't see it, so don't worry about it.
A little bit windy. So yeah, this is called The Most Hated Man on the Internet. It was about a dude named Hunter Moore, who ran a website called Are You Up? And Trav, I've never heard of any of this story or this guy or what this. It was unreal. This dude did he's the guy that started revenge porn, or he was like the king of revenge porn. So he would hack into, he would find pictures that women didn't even send, and men. You could take a photo for whatever reason, take a photo. This guy was hacking into people's accounts and stealing their private photos, and then here's where he would go crazy. He would post this stuff online with their social media links, and then at times even like their home address.
Damn.
Oh, dude, it was bad. It was bad.
Did he go to jail? Because to me, that's a crime. Yeah, I mean, to me, that's a crime, right? That's a serious crime when you're hacking into somebody's phone unannounced and not letting people know. That's an invasion of privacy. That's theft. That's a lot of things. Wow. You go down some dark alleys, man. No wonder your brain is the way it is.
I confuse myself. And I know that it's not consistent, and I wonder why. I both love people and am leery of them
it makes sense.
at the same time.
It makes sense. Makes sense. Well, yesterday, as you were driving up, or it might have happened after you got to the island, and we're going to start here because I think you and I have some pretty strong opinions about this. Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air of ABC yesterday. And
I feel you're going to tell me this you're going to be breaking this news to me.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Again, we got up here last night. We sat here and watched the stars. We didn't look. I didn't pull up the news at all. I met a guy from Decorah, Joe, the farmer from Decorah. I met him. So I don't know what happened.
So ABC pulled Jimmy Kimmel last night, suspended his show indefinitely. Now, a couple nights ago, he made some comments about Charlie Kirk and associating with, MAGA followers and a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to go into what he said, but to me, this is a huge story in a number of reasons, and it's almost like wag the dog. Don't pay attention to what is really happening. Okay, I didn't like cancel culture. And I don't like Jimmy Kimmel taken off the air. I'm not saying I like Jimmy Kimmel. I'm not saying I think Jimmy Kimmel is funny. But I believe Jimmy Kimmel has a right to do his show the way he wants to do it. What we have here, Ross, because everybody's looking at ABC going, oh, you caved to pressure and you are doing all this stuff. What ended up happening was Nexstar. Nexstar is a large media conglomerate that owns a lot of affiliates around the country. Decided to preempt Jimmy Kimmel because they were getting pushback from their viewers. This takes me back when I was in Wausau, Wisconsin. Remember NYPD Blue? Remember the show NYPD Blue?
Oh, yeah, when they were going to have the first male nudity.
Yeah, you had a butt, I believe
they were
it was.
going to have nudity. They just pitched it as we're going to have the first time there's going to be nudity on network television.
Yeah, so and this was So when I was in Wisconsin, we had people going, "Oh my God, how can you have nudity on the air?" People were outside standing in front of the station, protesting, doing all this stuff. And I actually think, if I remember correctly, we did not air that episode of NYPD Blue because they were
You're afraid of the boobies?
They were morally correct.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of things that happened yesterday. It started with this. It started with the FCC commissioner going on a podcast. When's the last time you actually heard from an FCC commissioner? It rarely happens.
Yeah, don't remember.
The FCC commissioner went on a podcast and was talking about Jimmy Kimmel and what he said, and there needs to be responsibility taken. And that I go, God, this is odd for an FCC commissioner to do it. He just offered an opinion. I'm not saying you have to agree with the opinion. I disagree with a lot of opinions.
Yeah.
Then right after that, Nexstar and Sinclair, two very large, prominent broadcasting owners, decided that they were going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel because of the pushback they were getting. Now, where this goes even deeper, let's not forget that Nexstar in August decided to make a purchase for Tenga Media. So let's put this in a local perspective. Channel 13 is a Nexstar corporation.
Okay.
Channel 5 is a Tenga corporation.
And those are real. Those are both real.
Those are both real.
Yeah.
Okay, so already Nexstar has 240 or 265 TV stations in 44 states. They're going to acquire Tenga. Well, there are FCC rules that say you can only own so many media outlets because it would give you almost a monopoly.
Yeah.
And so you have an FCC commissioner talking about Jimmy Kimmel. You have Nexstar and you have Sinclair going, hey, we're going to preempt these. So ABC caves to the pressure of these large media conglomerates and says, well, we're going to suspend Jimmy Kimmel indefinitely. But what needs to happen, Ross, for that Nexstar deal to go through? It needs to be approved by the government. And this is where you start putting the pieces together, and Nexstar is going, to me, this is my opinion, Nexstar says, hey, let's appease the government here to get this deal to go through. Let's say we're going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel, and that makes ABC cave, and when this deal comes up for approval in early 2026, it goes through the government a lot faster. Am I crazy here?
I mean, Travis, that's certainly the conspiracy theory. It that goes in line with the conspiracy that was around Colbert, right? When Colbert was let go, people were screaming the same thing. When not let go, when the announcement was made that his contract wouldn't be renewed, or however you want to put it, however that is. These two things oh man. All right, let's start from the beginning, right? And that I don't know what Jimmy Kimmel said, and so maybe during the break I'll look it up. If you don't want to, if I can look it up and see what he said, because I think
I'm trying to paraphrase here and just kind of remember off the top of my head. I should have cut the spot, but it was basically, about the shooter, how he actually could be tied to the MAGA movement, that, Charlie Kirk may have been shot by one of his own. They're trying to divert and make you think that it's a left-wing conspiracy. When the police have come out and said, hey, here's what we know. Here's who we lived with. Here's what was on the bullet. I mean, there's been evidence that says, well, there was a motive here, right? And he's saying, well, maybe look at yourself. And people are going to get upset about that. I get it. He's entitled to his opinion.
Do you remember when this happened, Travis? I said the thing that scares me is how we're going to react to the reaction, right? That there's going to be this back and forth that's going to get really crazy really fast. Charlie Kirk wanted people to share their opinions. Charlie Kirk wanted people to have a dialogue. He wanted people to disagree, and he wanted people to say, hey, this is why I think you're wrong, and then you tell me why you think I'm wrong. And, we're in that reaction, that back and forth part of what I was afraid was going to happen, where people start to get really weird here, man. Charlie Kirk was killed for sharing his ideas. So you know what we should do? We should silence people that have other opinions. I think I'm a pretty conservative guy. I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I don't like Stephen Colbert. I find Stephen Colbert fairly entertaining. Loved him on The Daily Show. As a conservative guy, I love Jimmy Kimmel being out there. I think it is a constant display of some of the idiocy. I love it. Constantly, you see stuff and you're like, oh, this is great. And I see young people catching on to it and picking up on it and going, oh, okay. Entertainment, news. Like, as soon as you start saying this stuff, I'm like, why is Jimmy Kimmel anyway?
Well,
he should be able to share his opinions like everybody else, Travis. And people can react to the opinions all they want. I think that your conspiracy theory there is probably pretty close, man. And people want to believe that the conspiracy theories only happen on their side, that people only get brainwashed on the other side. It's all of it.
When it comes down to it, it's all about money.
Yes.
There's money here. Nexstar is paying $6.2 billion for Tenga, right? And And we're going to bring this into a radio.
$6.2 billion?
6.2 billion. And what happens when corporations take on that much debt, Ross? They become soulless. And I'm going to use our own example with iHeartMedia as a perfect example. If you think local media is better with large corporations owning them, most people don't know what even happens. They don't understand that large corporations owning media entities is really bad for local media. It changes the dynamics. If you think iHeart is better, if you think WHO Radio is better with iHeart running it than when Palmer ran it, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. If you think Ross was fired because you know why Ross was fired? It wasn't because of anything he said, and this isn't going off on Ross getting fired. It was they needed to restructure debt, cut expenses wherever they could, and they said, "Well."
And I'd been there a long time. I made for radio. I made good money for radio.
Yes, yeah, but it validates what we're doing here. I mean. Sure, you got to protect your FCC license. You have to do a bunch of stuff, and you have to follow governmental rules. But what Chris Williams started at Iowa Everywhere, what Three Beards Media is doing, what we're doing, we control what we get to do, what we get to say. I mean, it got to the point at iHeart where they would be like, hey, you can't talk about this. Let's use the Associated Press, because they're in a pissing match with the Associated Press. They're like, guys, you can't say the words Associated Press. Why? Well, we don't have a contract with them. You do understand that the Associated Press is like the name of the poll. You're not taking exclusive information from the Associated Press and passing it off as your own. That's not what's happening here.
We've talked about that, and again, I don't want to turn this into that, but that you're on to something here, and people. You're on to some.
I mean, it's correlation between the Nexstar and Tenga thing, because it is when big media takes over these local markets. And I love that we're local. Are you really? You answer to somebody, and at Ivory Tower in New York City is really what happens. And so, Ross, when you hear Nexstar says, well, what we're going to do is to avoid the conflict of owning all these TV stations, we're going to consolidate TV stations. That means layoffs, folks. If I'm at Channel 5 right now, I'm scared shitless that I'm not going to have a job when this thing goes through. You may take 2 or 3 people. You're not taking that whole staff and moving them over. No way. Not happening.
You can look all around and see it. Look all around. Pick up the paper, right? And we love our friends at the paper. I love Chad and Travis and Tommy and all the guys that are there. Love them. They're doing a great job, and they're doing the work of 35 people as a group of about 6. And they're doing it because they love it, and that's what they wanted to do. And I know that because that's what I did for several years. Again, for the first decade or so, it was great and awesome and wonderful. When they started shedding people and handing off the responsibilities to people is when things started to suck. I mean, Trav, this is the freedom of speech thing. My buddy Ryan and I were just talking about this before we came on the air, and we didn't even know necessarily about the Jimmy Kimmel thing. But it is like you can say what you want, and then people can react how they want. You're not going to get arrested. If you get arrested for what you say, that's a violation of your First Amendment rights. But if you say something and people react to it, or your employer does something in response, or your customers do something in response, that's their freedom of speech. But this is exactly the thing that, and I'm glad this is your response to it, Trav, because I think a lot of people, they know that you and I are both kind of conservative guys, and they probably thought we brought this up, we'd both be like, good. Just keep Charlie Kirk's name out your mouth, right? And I'm glad that you have the same response I do of like, well, wait. Is this what we want to do? I mean, I'm not a fan. I haven't watched Jimmy Kimmel in years. I think he's kind of stupid. I think he's kind of gross.
I mean, I liked The Man Show. I thought The Man Show was funny.
Of course you did. Women bouncing on trampolines. Wasn't that what women in bikinis bouncing on trampolines on The Man Show? I like, who was the guy that did that show with him? Adam Carolla? Is that his name?
Yeah.
I see him from time to time. He'll scroll through my feed. Interesting guy.
And you're right that you do have freedom of speech, and usually you are graded on ratings. You're graded on whether advertisers want to spend money with you or not. Totally get it. And that's usually the barometric pressure that you feel. And you go, okay, that's probably not a way to go. But just to react and go, oh, my God, you make that instantaneous gut reaction. Oh, my, they said something about Charlie Kirk, or they said something about MAGA. Then you make that knee-jerk reaction. And I find it interesting how the tides have turned. You know, when cancel culture was going on, we were against that too. We're like, man, you're getting canceled for something you said 15, 20 years ago. What? This is just stupid, right? And that was when, you know, the left, and I'm going to use left and right here. It was like, yeah, we got to get rid of this person. Now the roles are reversed. And the right, who was complaining about the cancel culture, the right's like celebrating this. Listen, if you believe in free speech, you go, you can say it. I don't have to agree with it, and you move on. It's not that hard.
Can I help you? Can I help people move on for a second?
Sure.
I know you don't like when I do this because a lot of people are just listening and don't actually get to see what we're doing here.
Oh, the beautiful sunrise.
That's dusty in the sunrise, but
that's supposed to give me serenity.
No, you're all right. That's supposed to give you serenity right there. Serenity now, my friend.
Serenity now. Serenity. Well, who was that? Was that Costanza? Serenity now.
Yeah.
Serenity now.
Right. No, Travis, I think that it's going to get weirder. Okay. It's going to get weirder. This is just still part of that ping pong game, back and forth of people reacting, and then the other side's going to react in some other weird way, and so fishing today. That's what I'm going to do.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, we have a fun show with Coach Stepsis coming up. That'll be exciting. It's always fun on Thursdays. That'll be a boost. That's what we need.
Most definitely. But I do want to have I'm going to poke you a little bit. I want to keep having a longer, deeper conversation about this. This really is about corporate media. And to me, when you start doing things for power, for money, to move something along during a government process, it shows you why there shouldn't be 2, 3 major media companies, because then you have the entire country, and it really does not represent.
I think that I think that the mass media thing is a conversation that is the automobile and the horse and buggy. Okay, and here's what I mean. This thing, it's inevitable. I hate to say that, you've got to not, and I'm not talking to you, Travis. I would talk to masses here. You've got to shut off mass media. You've got to, because Travis alludes to it a little bit there. We've touched on it a bit. It is bought and paid for. It's bought and paid for. We're not told exactly what to say. It's not like that. It's not like that. But when Travis says, like, well, we can't say the AP. Well, then let's turn it up another notch. We can't talk about sporting events that don't buy advertising time on KXNO. That was one of the rules.
It was.
No, it wasn't a rule. But the salespeople would say, hey, please, they didn't spend money with us. Please avoid talking about this event in town.
Even though it's a major event, it's going to bring in lots of people and major athletes.
Okay.
Don't talk about it because they're not spending money with us.
So take that idea that whoever pays gets a say, right? Whoever doesn't pay doesn't get a say. So take that and apply it then on a big level, on a national level. You're watching TV, you're watching the NFL, and all of a sudden this commercial pops up, and it's like, talk to your doctor about Flozonase. Flozonase is for, this toe fungus that 1/90th percentile of the people have. Now, it might cause suicidal thoughts, but if you've got toe fungus and it's a basketball commercial, it's a family playing, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
You've seen 1,000 commercials like this for a condition you've never heard of, for a condition that you've got to ask your doctor about. Don't have your doctor tell you about it. You go in and tell your doctor, I saw this guy happy playing basketball, and I should ask about that. Why do they do that? Why do they spend a ton of money to have all of those different ads running for a tiny percentage of the population? Why do they do that? Because if they pay, they get a say. Because if they're paying the bills for the media corporation, they get to dictate what gets told to us. And if you don't think that had a play during the COVID era, you're crazy. You're crazy. If you don't think that the pharmaceutical companies that were cutting bajillion dollars of checks to the media companies didn't get to say, hey, don't let your people say this. Do make your people say this. Encourage people to get, right? We all saw yes. that thing play out. If they pay, they get a say. So apply that now to Jimmy Kimmel. Who are the people that are going to be paying the bills here? Who's the people that are trying to make this $1 billion merger happen?
Nexstar.
They don't care about the politics of it. They just want to get their money. They just want to get their money.
Yeah.
And who do we have to pay to get a say?
If a different administration was in there, and I'm just saying this, they would go, hey, we'll keep him on. They will do anything to get this $6.2 billion merger to go through because it's politics, it's money. 515-517-2303. Let's go to Coach Hersom. Coach Hersom, welcome to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. What's going on?
Hey, mostly trying to keep politics out of this, but this is more like a business question. Obviously, you have the pulse on these media conglomerates or whatever, but do you think that some of this is happening because they know they're losing control because of technology and podcasts and multiple channels and alternative sources of information?
Coach,
and that's why we're seeing some of this.
So, Coach, think about the boxing conversation that we've had the last couple of days, and we're all kind of like confused. We go, wait, boxing is dying, but guys are making $100 million a fight. Floyd Mayweather made all the money, but the industry died. That's what we're seeing here. We're seeing that exact same thing. Fewer people taking all the money as the product continues to die. Media is boxing. These big conglomerates are the Canelo Alvarez, made $100 million losing a fight. That's what we're seeing here. I don't think it's any sort of desperate. They're just trying to get more money. And by the way, just like Floyd Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez, they will make more money. Their goal will be met.
Come hell or high water, it'll be met.
Well, it's like Nico or whatever, the quarterback that was at Tennessee that didn't pay him enough, and now he's playing in front of 5,000 fans at UCLA. He hasn't won a game yet. And, it's money drives everything, right?
And I would say, old Chinese proverb on Nico, man, we'll see. We'll see. Right now, it's real easy to say, man, Nico made a huge mistake because he's not playing in front of 100,000 people. He's playing in front of 5,000 people. Well, he is making twice the amount of money to do so. He's making twice the amount of money. And if this ends up getting him in the NFL still, if he still finds a Caleb Williams route, a Baker Mayfield, again, the number of guys that have changed universities and then made it to the NFL are plenty. Jalen Hurts. And none of those guys do we. Nico, though, we go, you greedy SOB. You stupid. I can't believe you left 100,000 people to go play in front of 8,000. Oh, I made twice the money. Jeff says he's making less. I think they were the best offer he had, though, Jeff. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
It could be. On kind of a side political note, you remember that when there was a time that everybody was getting canceled for quote-unquote blackface, let's not forget Jimmy Kimmel on The Man Show was the original not the original, but he Karl Malone. And you know what? And I don't think he's ever acknowledged or apologized for that or anything, Was it a funny skit? I don't know. Maybe. I guess. I don't know.
Again, the Man Show was what it was. I liked the Man Show.
It was the Man Show. I mean, the Man Show tells you what it is.
It was the Maxim magazine of TV shows. Remember Maxim magazine?
Yeah, when they had the little kid out selling beer on the. They had the little kid out selling beer on the street. Might have been some of the funniest skits ever.
I do remember that one, Coach. That was funny.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right. Yep, have a good one.
Of course I know what Maxim is.
It's just that look. It's not good. Do you remember Maxim magazine? And you're like, it's your eyebrows. Oh, yeah.
Well, it's like, look who you're talking to, man. Of course I know what Maxim is.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, but Ross, it just validates that doing what we're doing, what Iowa Everywhere are doing, what it's doing, is the right thing to do. Because, sure, our opinions could be suppressed a little bit. We answer to advertisers. I mean, this is an advertising-driven show. We don't ask people to pay for the content. A lot of people have paywalls up there. They'll say, go to my Patreon page. Go to, we're not asking you to do that. We believe in providing content for free. Sure, we answer to advertisers, but not. The good news is Jason Willis at Willis Automotive, Brian Duax, everybody who advertises on the show, Corey at Bats and Bugs, Bruno, who's been a part of the show, they know what the show is. They've never once said, hey, back off this, They do say, hey, could you promote a new Nissan? Absolutely, I can promote a new Nissan. I have no problem promoting a new Nissan. So, yeah, I know people probably thought we'd be rah-rah, Jimmy Kimmel's off the air. I'm not like that at all. And I don't like it when it happens on either side. It's just like, oh, my God.
Can I just do it for you real quick? Can I just?
Yeah.
Does that do it for you? Look at the guys out there.
You know what does it for me? I'm going to be honest with you. Well, you do it for me. But what does it for me is not the sunrise. And I'm not a water person, but I can hear the waves.
Oh, yeah, the lake lapping against
the
rocks.
Hear, it's almost like that white noise to when you want to go to sleep, and you're like, oh, just the
I slept right there. I could touch the wall of the bedroom that I slept in. The bedroom window is 4 feet from the water. Every time you roll over in bed and you kind of get that second of consciousness, that's what you hear.
And I almost liked it better when it was pitch dark because it was that imagination of oh, how far out is it? It's just, yeah. 515-517-2303. That's the number to call. Coach Todd Stepsis, head coach of the Northern Iowa Panthers, is going to be joining us at 7 o'clock, so stick around for that. We've got a lot of questions to ask him, not just about their showdown with Utah Tech, but a lot of things happening in the coaching world, including the transfer portal, which we'll talk about when we come back on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
The Rush Radio is now on the free TuneIn app, allowing you to enjoy the show on Apple products and Android Auto. Download the free TuneIn app and search The Rush Radio to take Travis and Ross wherever you go.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vents, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
The Royal Mile, where everyone's a wee bit British. The Royal Mile is downtown Des Moines' living room with classic pub favourites. Pair them with a glass of whiskey or an expertly poured Guinness. It's bloody brilliant. The Royal Mile, a proper British pub.
There's always something new at Fong's Pizza. The patio is open and ready for you, your friends, and an ever-changing menu of tiki drinks. Or try our new noodle dishes alongside your favorite slice. It's all happening this summer at the new Fong's in the East Village.
Thinking about buying a home? Get pre-approved in 30 minutes with Gary Presnell at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA, FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know. High-quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig, plantation rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Cheaper, cleaner, and homegrown. Pump it up with unleaded 88.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the RushRadio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
It's game time at Willis Chevrolet of Granger. We're kicking off September with hard-hitting deals. Drive the legendary Silverado 1500 with 2.9 APR for 72 months, or lease on the 2025 Silverado 1500 Turbo Max for just $349 a month. The all-new 2026 Equinox is on the field with 1.9 APR and no payments for 90 days. Need a value pack starter? The Chevy Trax starts in the low 20,000s. And don't forget, this is your last month to grab up to $7,500 in federal tax credits on eligible electric Chevy vehicles. Stop in and see us in Granger or visit us online at willischevy.com.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
The best bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
A happy Ross Peterson. There's no way I can pee on his parade today. There's just no way.
You couldn't smack the smile off my face right now, buddy. Promise you that.
You really are. You should talk to the owner of that and say, hey, I think I want to buy you out. I think this is my happy place. Can we put together a succession plan to where I just buy you out and I run this place when you're done?
Travis, I told you this last time in June. Every time we're up here, we have discussions about, like, how long could you make it up here? First of all, if you really pay attention and watch the guys that work up here, dude, it's an insane amount of work. And Gary's about our age. He's right between the two. Right around our age. And, man, he's working. Like, when we pulled up to the dock last night at 6:30, I'm like, hey, we're at the dock. He's like, well, I am the cook and the waiter tonight. So once I get done cooking and serving food, I'll get on the boat, drive a half hour, come get you, bring you back, cook you dinner. And then, by the way, he was up when I got up at 5 a.m. this morning and went out to see if to start to get stuff. Gary's out moving around, fueling up boats. It's tough, man. It's a tough go. So we get to come here and sit and drink coffee and watch the sunrise. It's real easy to do this and go, I could do this every day.
I need to own this place. This is what I want.
You pay attention and you go, oh, crap. It's paradise for me, dude. It's not. It's work for them.
And this is going to sound like a stupid question because I don't know. How far are you from the border? How long does it take you to get from the border?
About an hour. I'd say about an hour north of the border.
Are there people who, like, own and work in Canada but drive back and forth? Is Gary like an American that drives back and forth?
So not every day. He told me he went home yesterday. I asked when we got.
So he is American.
Yes, he's American, and it's kind of strange, dude. There's a whole bunch of stuff some summer we can talk about how he has to be an owner of the business, basically, in order to work here. Canada does things way different than the United States, okay? Meaning, if you want to hire somebody in Canada, you have to hire a Canadian. And if you end up hiring a foreign-born citizen, you have to prove to the government that you did everything you could to hire a Canadian-born citizen.
Okay.
So it's just different. Yeah, in order to work here, he has to be an owner of the lodge in a way.
That makes sense. Would you tell your buddy who's sitting right by you to stop it? Just tell him to stop it.
Hey, Travis says stop it.
So Ryan, who's with Ross, is literally sitting 4 feet from him. Yeah. And he goes, hey, Trav, did you get the green light from your better half on that Defender? And, of course, we were at the Willis new car show on Tuesday night, and I found a car that I wanted. And believe it or not, I was talking with Jason Willis a lot yesterday. This is how far Willis will go to give you a customer experience. And I'm not making this up. Jason goes, hey, I know you want your wife to drive it. I will personally drive it over to you so she can drive it. I'm like, you don't have to do that, okay? And, because then we're really hooked. Then we're in. Okay?
This is the I just want to go see a puppy.
Yes.
I just want to go see it. I don't want to get a puppy. I just want to go see a puppy.
So, but I was talking to Anjanette about last night, but I wrote Jason, I said, hey, would you, in our situation, because I ended up looking at a lot more cars online last night, and I'm like, would you get a Cadillac? Would you get a Lexus? Would you get an Infiniti? Or would you go with the Defender? And he actually said that's a very tough question. It depends on what you want. We go on a lot of longer drives. Not every car is built for a longer drive, meaning the comfort of it and stuff. So
right.
We were having discussions. You can tell I'm getting closer. It's just one of those.
Listen, this is all I'll tell you. You've got the right people.
Yes.
Trust the experts. That's my expert. Every vehicle I buy, I call him. I go, hey, this is what I'm thinking.
Yes.
And he says, you're dumb. Don't do that.
Yeah, he knows he didn't tell me I was dumb. He's like, buy it. Just tell him there needs to be a little bit more movement on that price. Just see what he says. We need more movement on that price.
I loved the
everything is negotiation. Transfer portal is something we've talked about a lot on this show. And Ross, you've had strong opinions on the transfer portal, and I think they make a lot of sense to what you say. Hey, you reach the end of a semester, transfer portal. Reach the end of another semester, transfer portal. I mean, that's the school year, right? I mean, most people that transfer or leave school do it after the semester, and they move on. There's been some complaints by coaches about the window and all this stuff. Yesterday, the NCAA approved moving to a single window with the transfer portal, getting rid of the spring transfer portal window. So right now, the transfer portal opens up in early December. They are considering there's no replacement yet that's going to be discussed, but it looks like that transfer portal window is going to move to early January with a 10-day window to get yourself into the transfer portal, eliminating the spring one. Now, my problem with this, I mean, and I want to ask, because this is going to affect Coach Todd Stepsis. It's going to every division, right?
Jesus.
Yeah,
talk about drinking from the fire hose, dude. 10-day window.
Now here's what I like. Once you're in the transfer portal, there's no deadline to get out. And I want to go, well, if I'm every player in college football, I'm throwing my name in the transfer portal. I'd go to my coach and say, here, coach, I got to get in the transfer portal, because if I get down to spring practice and I know that I'm not going to get playing time, or this isn't where I'm going to be, I need a place to go. And it's weird time. I understand coaches' frustrations with the portal. I do. And now that you have unlimited transfers, you can play with 4 different schools, 5 different schools in a 5-year period. I understand their frustration with it. I understand. I actually like Ross, believe it or not, moving it out of that early December window to keep people hopefully on teams for some of these bowl games, right? Like when Florida State got decimated for its bowl game against Georgia a couple years ago when they opened up early December and that entire team that won undefeated basically left that team empty. So there's good sides of everything. There's bad sides of everything. But
so what, Travis? Like maybe this is a question for Coach Stepsis then. And what's going through my brain is what would I want? If they gave me the magic wand, where do you put the window? I still think it should just follow the school year. That you should be able to transfer at the semester breaks. Now that would allow a January window, I guess, right? A winter window and a summer window. Dude, there's a part of me that also says, shouldn't a kid be able to transfer whenever he wants? But you can't really do. I don't know. I think it should be. I think they're institutions of higher learning. They're universities. Damn it, follow those rules.
But here's where things are changing, and I probably would have been agreement with that under the old system where guys didn't get paid. Now, when you're coming in going, hey, we're paying you.
That's a contract.
That's a contract.
And this is why we've always said you got to get through all of this mud and muck. Make them employees. Get them under contract. You can and then you could even make them multi-year deals. If you are convinced that Nico is your quarterback in Tennessee, sign him to a 3 or 4 year deal. I think that's the way to get through all of it, and then it's all written in stone. And it says on June 1, you are no longer our employee, and we'll either renegotiate and extend, or you can go and find another place that's willing to let you play for them.
That might be the best way to do it. Say, hey, either you can agree to a multi-year contract, but you can't transfer, or you can go year by year, but you have to go June 1 to June 1. I mean, we're just throwing an arbitrary date out there. And here's what you bring up: Nico Amalavala.
Yeah.
Okay, guess what he can do right now because his coach was fired? Every player at UCLA.
That's right. Holy cow.
Every player at Virginia Tech can get into the transfer portal right now because their coach were fired, which leads me to another question, because we talk about relationships. Are you signing a contract with a coach, or are you signing a contract with the university? The university's paying you. The coach isn't paying you. He may approve your salary.
Yeah, that rule will change. When you become, when your boss gets fired, you don't get fired. You're expected to show up at work the next day for the new boss.
Yeah. I mean, how many bosses did we go through at iHeart? A lot.
How many people said they were our bosses at iHeart?
A lot. Okay, here's the hierarchy of the organizational chart. Okay, whatever. Am I doing my show?
It looked like the Des Moines Public School Boards or the Des Moines Public Schools infrastructure. You're like, whoa, who are these people out here? What do they do? They've never been in our building.
Mike says, why not limits for coaches too? Coaches do have limits to an extent, and just hear me out. And I would be okay with this with players. If you want a coach, what do you have to do if you want him? You got to pay to get him, or the coach has to pay to get out of a contract.
Idea, Trav. I love your idea here. Buyouts for players.
Yes. And Mickey Joseph brought this up at Grambling, going, hey, I can't compete with the Ole Misses and the LSUs of the world, but I worked hard to get the guy. I developed him, or we developed him into the player that you want. You got to pay us for him. And, so if Matt Campbell were to leave, or you give any coach, there's limits, and that is either the coach has got to pay for a buyout, or the other university that wants to has to give millions of dollars. So there's the limit. And I guarantee there have been coaches who wanted to be pursued, and universities went, we're not going to pay that buyout. There's no way. We can't financially justify giving $10, $15 million and then turn around and paying them $8, $9, $10 million a year. It doesn't make financial sense. So coaches do have limits to an extent, because you're going to get compensated. Let's use.
But again, but the thing we've talked about, they're under contract. That's a contract. And so all of that stuff is laid out and says, you're going to be here for this amount of time, for this amount of compensation. And if you decide to leave, this is what that looks like. And that the same thing could be drawn up for these players. Ray has a good question, and I would love for, because Ray's a fun guy to talk to. Ray's our hockey buddy. He says, are these athletes professionals or amateurs?
They're professionals. Amateur, once you become paid for anything, say you're a 16-year-old and you get paid to play tennis, you're a professional player. If you're a 16-year-old and you start making money off your YouTube, you start making money off your podcast or whatever, you've become a professional. People are paying you for your services. Once you become paid for your services, you are a professional. Am I wrong there?
My question would be even more, what's an amateur? What does that mean? That just means somebody that doesn't get paid? Or is there some sort of other, and I'm not being a smartass, I'm genuinely asking, is there some other qualification, is there some other thing that gives you? It's because it's not Olympics anymore. It's not Olympics. It's not the Olympics anymore. It's not, well, you got to keep your Olympic status alive. Nope, that's not a thing. What does it mean to be an amateur? Does that just mean that they keep because what my cynical brain hears is, we're going to keep the money away from you. You don't get, you are on the amateur side of things, which means the money doesn't get to your side of the fence. Well, that's why we had this conversation for the last 10 years and broke that fence down, right? And said, well, no. They're the reason people are showing up and paying all the money and doing all the things and buying all the gear and getting the television packages. The athletes are the reason the coaches' salaries are millions of dollars. The amateurism is why we're in this position, because for years they denied that free market thing that said, hey, these kids should be part of the equation. And so are these athletes professionals or amateurs? They've been unpaid professionals for a long, long, long time. In fact, really haven't been unpaid. Again, Wilt Chamberlain was paid $5,000 to go to Kansas back in the 50s. That made him a professional athlete that day.
You know, maybe the best example of amateurism, Ross, and it's loose, but hear me out, would be golf. I mean, when you are an amateur golfer, you cannot be part of the PGA Tour, right? I mean, you can get an exemption, but if you win and you're an amateur, you don't get the money, right? And usually at that point you go, I've declared myself a professional and I'm going to take the millions of dollars.
Travis,
golf might.
See that clip of Bryson DeChambeau the other day talking about how many golfers make money? You're not going to believe this. I couldn't believe it. I think it was him that said this. The top 150 golfers in the world profit.
That's it?
If you are 151, it's more likely that you've lost money playing golf on the season, traveling, because you're
an independent contractor. You're an independent contractor.
You got to pay for everything. And so that's if you are the top 150.
Think about how many golfers there are in the world. Think how many golfers are really, really good. So
I would even argue, as far as for college athletes, they were paid the minute. The real conversation, this amateurism thing, is such a weird mental wall, because the athletes were always getting some sort of compensation. As soon as they got a scholarship, they were no longer amateur athletes. They were getting something for that trade-off to come and be an athlete. And then this is when the NCAA stood up and said, all right, we're going to put these rules in place. Everybody can only offer the exact same thing: room and board, books.
Well, let me push back on that a little bit. I totally understand what you're saying. But I don't view an athletic scholarship any different than I do an academic scholarship, meaning that there are plenty of people who at the University of Iowa, Iowa State University, Drake, you and I, get a full ride for academics. Doesn't make them a professional engineer yet. Does not make them a professional architect. You still have to get...
Nope, you're right. But it's a benefits package.
It is a benefits package, but they're not a professional yet.
What we're talking about here basically is what what level of compensation.
Yeah.
And then everybody's got their own determination of like, well, once it's an actual dollar, now you've crossed that threshold into being a professional. But as long as we're just giving you as long as we're just giving it to you and we don't actually put a dollar value on it, you fall on this side of the fence. And so that's always been a weird.
I've always looked at scholarships as it was funny money on an Excel spreadsheet line, meaning that it's not real money. We're going to say it's real money, but it's not costing you anything. It's not really costing us anything because we've got it in the budget to pay, professors and your housing and stuff like this because we're making enough money on the side that we can take the loss here. To me, that's not a scholarship. To me, was not really a transaction. It was a benefit that's afforded to athletes. It's afforded to really smart kids who get a 36 on the ACT and stuff like that. I think, when you become a professional is when you get paid to perform or to provide said service. And we are in a professional model now, and there's no going back. And now it comes to, once you become a professional, what does that look like from a contractual standpoint? What are your obligations for the team you play for? And should the free-for-all exist? And I'm with you. I keep coming back to what you said. When the semester's over, you want to leave, leave.
I mean, it seems to be the easiest solution for it all. Because maybe you like to use this term, sometimes we all get Pollyannish, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I am optimistic or Pollyannish about this, that they are institutions of higher learning. At some point, we're going to get back to that. At some point, it will get back to what's the priority here? Who does this money belong to? Who does this coach work for? What are we doing? What are we doing? If we're making millions of dollars and having a football team, then that's a professional football team. If we're going to be serious about school, then that should be part of the equation in some way. Like somebody just asked in the chat, what are we going to do about eligibility rules? When does it just become, hey, stay as long as you want?
When's the last time you heard of an athlete being ineligible for academic reasons?
Academically ineligible? You have to read about it. And I mean in the past. You have to read about stories of guys in the past.
Yeah, I can't tell you the last time he didn't make grades because he didn't go to class.
Dude, I read a story the other day about this dude that the Hawkeyes recruited who had the nickname Bone Crusher. His last name was Williams. He was an amazing recruit that Ferentz brought in like 2004. He was the top recruit in the country as a linebacker. And he was academically ineligible, and they tried to say, and Purdue ended up swiping him, and he ended up starting at Purdue. But I saw that phrase, and that went through my head. I was like, I haven't seen those two words back to back in a long time. Academically ineligible. No, what you see is enters transfer portal. What you see is a tweet. I'd like to thank God for the opportunity. First of all,
515-517-2303. When we come back, Northern Iowa head coach Todd Stepsis is going to join us on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Hey everybody, Mason Miller, sales manager out here at Mini of Des Moines, and right now we have some exciting things to talk about. We have our last Countryman SE. We are leasing that as low as $399 a month with $3,800 down. On top of that, we are doing 1.99 for 48 months on all new 2025 Countrymans. For more information, come visit your favorite Mini Motoring Advisor or visit us online at miniofdesmoines.com.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Every business has priorities, and Priority One Heating and Cooling is no different. As a service provider, we prioritize quality air conditioners and furnaces that will keep your home at your comfort level year-round. As a small business, we prioritize doing things the right way and treating people fairly. As a truly local business, we prioritize our community. As a veteran-owned business, we prioritize duty and commitment. For big business service with local value, trust your home to the place where you are always Priority One.
Hi, my name is John Linares with Willis Lexus, and September is one of my favorite months. I would like to personally invite you to our Willis Automotive new car show on Tuesday, September 16th from 4:45 until 7:30 p.m. It'll be a fun night with friends, food, and beverages. Leading up to the car show, we've specially priced our vehicles for our new car show, and Lexus is supporting us with great low lease rates. For example, a $449 lease rate with $49.99 due at signing on ES. Stop on out or visit us online at willislexus.com.
Rush, strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Hello, happy Thursday. If you're listening on the audio stream at rushradio.com, on the Rush Radio Android app or the TuneIn app, thank you. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like. Start leaving your comments in the comment section. And, of course, you can follow us on our social media channels. Quick reminder that to pump it up with Unleaded 88. It's grown by Iowa corn farmers right here in the state of Iowa. So pump it up with Unleaded 88. Go to iowacorn.org. Ross, do you think Coach Todd Stepsis is a fisherman? Do you think he's a fisherman?
I thought we talked to him about this.
I don't remember.
I thought we did.
Well, you know, Coach Stepsis, Ross is in Canada right now. You can see the lake behind him.
That's great.
Are you a fisherman?
Just trying to challenge you for view of the day.
I was going to say, you absolutely blow this out of the water. That looks amazing. I don't really have the patience for fishing, unfortunately. I've been really, like, as a kid, we would, mess around and fish like at different little ponds and whatnot, but for like bluegill, and every now and then you get a bass or a catfish or something like that. But the only time I really went fishing like for real was in Alaska, of all places. We went Prince William Sound, Valdez area for halibut, which again, I don't know how much fun it was fishing for those things. It was like pulling up a barn door, but we ate it that night, and it was one of the best meals I've ever had.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'm going to bring you into our conversation that we had right before we took the break. And I want to ask you, because besides coaching football, and we're going to get to the Utah Tech game probably a little bit later on this conversation, you have to follow all the NCAA rules. Yesterday, they voted to change the transfer portal window and get rid of the spring window. I want to get your opinion on that. Then we'll give you ours, and you can tell us either we're smart or stupid. But when you get rid of, change the December window, go to an early January window, and no spring window, do you like that? Are you in favor of that? And tell us why or why not.
Well, first of all, we could probably go down a completely different rabbit hole about like the transfer portal in general. I mean, obviously, it was designed, I think, with good intentions. You see coaches kind of coming and going and bouncing from place to place, and why not let the players be able to do that, especially if there's a great relationship, you went to the school, the education, the environment, the community is part of your decision, but sometimes the coach is a big part of that. And so if that coach leaves, to be able to leave without penalty, I get all that. It is a little frustrating where it kind of went backwards and sideways and upside down, where guys are leaving for the wrong reasons, and that's something for us. I don't probably have as strong of opinion on the transfer portal as maybe some, because I'm not a huge fan of, to be honest, bringing in a transfer, just because for me, it's hard. It's even harder now. You got a 10-day window to figure out whether that guy's a fit for you or not, as opposed to when you recruit high school guys, typically you've got, over a year, maybe a year plus to get to know that guy. So, I think what's nice from a roster management perspective, especially because the numbers now are shrinking, you can only carry so many guys. It does let you kind of solidify your team. It lets you bring in some mid-year guys to then, integrate them into your culture and your systems, and you don't have to worry about then losing them in the spring and then scrambling in the summer. So I think it is it does bring a little bit more guardrails on it, but again, at the end of the day, it does feel like we are starting to hamstring our youth a little bit. Hey, sometimes it's good to go through some tough stuff. Sometimes it's good to not be the man and work to be the man, as opposed to look somewhere else to be the man. So I think it's maybe a step in the right direction. I guess time will tell. We'll see.
I hadn't thought of that, Coach. I love that thought. You get a long time to recruit a kid when he's coming out of high school. You get, as you talked about, you get to see him one time, but you get to recruit him. You get to know him. Maybe get to know his family. 10 days. We said this is drinking from the fire hose. This is the epitome of drinking from the fire hose. So, is that one of the end goals of this move? Is this will deter kids from transferring? If it's going to deter coaches from looking into that fire hose, then it's going to eventually, maybe not right away, it will deter kids from entering that fire, that stream, because they know there's no place to get caught, or they're going to end up way down the line in a school that they never planned on being in. Is that part of maybe the goal here?
Yeah, that's a great thought. I think the problem right now with it all is that only you don't hear a ton of, 1,000 kids went in the transfer portal and 950 of them don't have a place to play.
Yeah.
You don't hear necessarily those stats. You hear about, so-and-so left and now look at him and he's doing great. And so-and-so left and now, so I think the more of the other side that starts to get the word gets out, it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's not so bad here. Instead of rolling the dice and seeing what's out there and potentially leaving a really good situation for maybe a not so good one. That whole saying, the grass is always greener. I think that might, to your point, I got 10 days to find a spot, but again, I think once you're in it, you're in it. So man, if you don't land somewhere in January, you work really hard, you keep marketing yourself, and then an injury happens or whatever, you can always pick up a guy whenever.
Okay, so Travis, he said once you're in it, you're in it. So you can't. This isn't the type of thing where you can put your toe in the water and see what options are available. I don't even know how this stuff works, Coach.
It just depends on, I guess, your philosophy as a coach. Okay. So I guess rewind a year ago. So a year ago, I just got here in December, and we had a number of guys on our roster that were in the transfer portal. And I couldn't blame them for that. The coach retired, a new guy comes in, who knows if I'm crazy or not, you don't know anything about me. I'm bringing in, assistant coaches. So if you had a relationship with your assistant coach, so I didn't fault them or hold that against them, and basically open the door for hey, if you want to come in and have a conversation, get to know me, if you want to, remove your name and come back and, be a part of our program, I'm for it. Now, fast forward to this year at the end of the season, if somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to get in the transfer portal, then it starts to get a little personal, Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, what's the issue here? Is it something that we're doing? Now, if it's hey, I just don't see myself ever playing here. I don't want to ride the bench, or maybe I'm homesick, or maybe there's an issue where I've got to find a school back closer to home. then okay, like I'm not going to be mad or hate that guy. I'm always going to be their biggest fan, regardless of where they go. But once he goes in the portal, then it's kind of like, well, we obviously weren't good enough for you,
gotta
or
move on.
And so then we will move on. So
yeah.
Again, it just depends on what your philosophy
I
is,
see
what
that.
the program's philosophy is.
Well, one of the things that the NCAA said, though, was like with this January, you get 10 days to get in the window, but no deadline to get out. And just hear me out here. So if you're going to take away the spring portal window, when you have, some guys could get through spring ball and go, I'm probably not going to work here, right? I think what they're trying to do is cut down on tampering and all that stuff. But let's say your best player comes to you and says, Coach, I'm going to go in the transfer portal just because I need to keep that option open if I have an opportunity. But, I'm still going to stick around for a semester, go to school. What would be your answer if you went in the transfer portal and say, I'm just playing the field right now because there's no spring window? What would your answer be?
Well, I guess what would your answer be if your wife said, I'm playing the field?
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
That's kind of how it feels for me. And again,
that's what went through my head when you were saying that. That's kind of the same thing of like, wait, if the girl shows up and says, hey, I want to go look around, I'd go, okay, well, that was fun.
Yeah, adios. And then you have the other side of the story too. It's like you don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face. So to your point, like, God, we got the superstar guy, and then all of a sudden, we get through spring ball. It's like, geez, we really have a hole here. But again, one of the things that my wife and we promised each other, when we moved up here is like, we're going to stick to our guns. We're going to stay true to who we are, what we believe in, and our values. And so, for me, it would be, hey, once you're testing the waters and dipping your toe, it's like, yeah, you might as well find another place.
Makes sense. Before we move on to Utah Tech, we were just having this conversation. What is an amateur? Because we were talking about payment, and this kind of fell through. Then we got into this discussion of amateurism. What is an amateur?
Does that even? Should we just wipe that word away from the
Thank
dictionary?
you, Coach. Thank you.
I don't think it even. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to define that anymore. Like, now when I hear amateur, like I just think of like, hey, someone that is like just okay at their job. He's just an amateur, I don't even think of like, someone that's not getting, paid for their services. Like, I don't see that being a word that we would use in that context, as far as amateurism and professionalism. Like, I think it's gone.
How many players on your team are getting paid? I mean, is the whole team getting paid, or is just a certain amount of players getting paid?
There's a handful that are, and again, it's more, it's less cash in the pocket and more like, extra things that they're going to get. So, it's a meal plan. It's, those kinds of things. It's not necessarily like, hey, you're getting a huge check every month. There's, now, once you get the meal plan, then there's the cost of attendance. And I think that's one thing that I think some people, I don't know if they're just they don't understand it, or they don't realize it, or it never gets talked about, is so like, for us, a full scholarship, you get your school paid for, you get your books paid for, you get your room paid for, you get your meal plan, and you get a monthly stipend of what does it cost to live in Cedar Falls a month. Okay, so again, like that is money that you can choose to spend how you want to spend it. And again, like if you're on an unlimited meal plan and we're doing a lot of things for you, it's a pretty good life. It's not too shabby there. And so for us, like all of those kind of things, our players are happy. They're happy with the opportunity. I think there's sometimes where guys may need something here or there that we it's nice to be able to provide for them now. But I mean, at the end of the day, it feels like our guys are taken care of. But we're at our level, we're not talking about millions of dollars. That some of these big Power 4 places are having.
All right, one broader football question before we get into Panther football, and I want to before we get into the specifics, because I don't want this to come across as anything related to your team. Travis and I were talking throughout the week about this coaching position that you're in, specifically with Texas and Arch Manning is what we were talking about. At some point, a coach has to start to realize, oh no, the guy I believed in, the guy I had as my starter is not the guy. That's got to be a really hard thing for a coach because you believe in your decision, you believe in your guy, you've watched a lot of practice, there's a reason you picked him as the starter, and I'm sure you've been through this, so can you kind of walk us through how does that happen in the coaching room? What's that like when you have that realization of like, oh no, I got to make a move on this?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's you have to understand the reality of this is not a perfect world here. And even in the NFL, I don't even know what the first round draft pick hit rate is. 50%, I don't know, maybe a little bit more. But, you have to, as a coach, give yourself a little bit of grace where you're going to screw it up and get it wrong from time to time. So I think that does ease a little bit of the, like, dang, we thought we had something here, but, we might have missed. But I think, number one, when you have like in that situation, I think there's a total body of work that not every one of us are seeing, so, what does he look like in practice? How is he grading out in scrimmages? What does that look like? And all those factor into a decision that you're going to make on Saturday. And so, again, he hasn't played well when the lights are on, and there is kind of a clock there that, as a coaching staff that you're like, okay, how much longer are we going to let him, kind of, take some lumps. A nice thing for them that they've won games, so, at the end of the day, they're still getting out and win column, and it hasn't hurt them yet. But no one player is bigger than the team. And so you have to, as a coach, sometimes swallow your pride and swallow your ego and say, what's best for our team is for us to go in a different direction. And, and you have to trust your gut and your feeling there. And that's the way it is.
Coach, I love that word grace. Travis makes fun of me for using it a lot, but to give yourself grace, Travis, that's important. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, buddy.
And another thing that came up was Caleb Williams, how when he let the football go over his head on the kickoff for the Steelers, and they demoted him immediately. It was like, the difference between the NFL and college is like, sorry, you're down now. We're knocking you down 3 spots. We're not giving you the grace. So
it's a different ballgame now. But it feels like, again, at that major college level, that's not where I'm at right now. So, I think it's getting to be that way. I think there's a lot of money involved, and it's a business. It's not how it used to be. At that spot, especially Texas, but really all those major college football teams. It is now becoming less transformational and more transactional, which is what the NFL is.
All right, so I started getting ready for the Utah Tech Northern Iowa game. I go on like the ESPN game tracker and stuff like that, and I always worry because it has Northern Iowa and the logo, and then there's Utah Tech and there's no logo, and I'm like, oh boy, there's no logo for Utah Tech? And then I'm like, well, why are you going to Utah Tech? I've never heard of Utah Tech.
Now, have you heard of Dixie State?
Yes.
That's Utah Tech. They changed it.
Nothing says Dixie like Utah.
No. Wait a minute. You know what? I can't figure out. There is a story behind it, and one of the coaches was trying to tell me about like how it became Dixie State, and then it's now changed. I think it got changed the whole like PC stuff, Redskins and Indians and all that, and so it's now that is Utah Tech used to be Dixie State. So
I've never. I got a rabbit hole. This thing. How did Dixie State
in Utah?
In Utah. So I mean, are they? I should know this, but I don't because they didn't have a logo on their thing. But is this an FCS team? I mean, is this a game you should be traveling to? How did this end up on the schedule?
Yeah, so we played them here in 2022. And so typically they are an FCS team. Sorry, I should answer that question first. They're an FCS team. They play in the same league as like Tarleton State and some of those schools, down south, so yeah, initially I thought like, oh, it's a Big Sky school, cause it's kind of, near Northern Arizona and places like that. But, it's in that league that's down south, I think Central Arkansas, Tarleton and those places. But, so they, it's interesting, they're 0-3 right now. But they played 3 ranked FCS teams, and they've been within a touchdown with all of them. And so, they've got, some really good players, defensive line on the interior. This is a little stereotypical, but, there are a couple Polynesian kids that are like, man, they are athletic and twitchy and mean. And so, we've got our work cut out for us, as far as their interior, their defensive line, and they've got some really good skill, from the West Coast and then from, some of those southern states. And they play 2 quarterbacks, so it's interesting. It's an interesting story. It's another probably rabbit hole that we can go down, but they're both from the same high school in St. George, Utah, which if I had to do it over again, so we went out a day early to Wyoming, and like, I don't know, like Laramie is just kind of nothing. I mean, it's just there, and so, but St. George, Utah looks amazing. Like Zion is right there, the national park. I mean, some of this, so like in my mind, I was like, shoot, we should have gone out there a day early and checked that place out. But they're both from the same high school in St. George. One is like 2 years older than the other one, and they do split time. Like one's a little bit better of a thrower, one's a little bit better of a runner, but they both can run. And so they both do, quarterback run game stuff. And, but yeah, like but I mean, there is not a, like, I mean, it's split. Like they both play very equal time, which I've never done that ever. Like we've used the changeup guy, and we've got some guys on our team that we're planning on doing that with a little bit more, but never like, hey, you're going to take this series, you're going to take this series, and
so those kids have been doing that. They did that in high school and were recruited as like a team.
I don't know. Like, yeah, like that's where it's like I got to go down that rabbit hole, because like again, they're so in high school, like did they share time, or did the senior start and the sophomore then take over as a junior? But like now they're on the same team, and they are splitting time. Like like the older guy is the runner, the younger guy's a little more a thrower. It's crazy.
I mean, does that mess your practice up because you have to prepare for that? I mean, your scout team goes after one offense. Now you're like, how do you divide practice up, and how do you prepare for something like that?
Well, luckily the system doesn't change, with either guy, so they still run the same concepts, whether it's in the pass game or, they both run the same concepts in QB run game. And so from a preparation standpoint, it's not a huge deal. Now the tougher thing is, when you have, I think North Dakota State had this, I mean, it was like last year, I think last year was the last year they did, but like last year, 23, 22, they had Cam Miller, who was just a surgical passer, but also could run. But then they brought in this big yoked up, 245-pound quarterback that he was more of like a wildcat guy, but then at times, he'd shoot it out to a screen, or he'd be on a bootleg or whatever. And so you had to defend both with him. So that was a little bit more challenging. Hey, when is 9 in there? These, now all of a sudden we got to kind of train our mind to think a little bit different defensively, and maybe employ a few more calls to stop him.
You got a nice win over Eastern Washington last week in a fairly close game. What'd you like about what your team was able to pull out there?
To be able to go through the feeling of the wheels completely falling off and getting to the other side. And so if you looked at the stat line, you're like, how did you and I not win by 40? Like, I mean, it was super lopsided yards, first downs, third down conversions, all those kinds of things. But then, a sack fumble gives them a short field. A blocked punt gives them a short field. We threw an interception, in the end zone. I mean, just like all of these things, it just started to snowball. And, but I was looking around the sideline, and there was no finger pointing, there was no complaining, there was no look of panic. Now, if you were to ask my wife, she'd be like, "I almost threw up. Like I was getting lightheaded."
Man, we got to meet your
because,
wife.
I mean,
Coach, we're going to have to meet her. She sounds like
she's a ton of fun. But like, I mean, it was, 17 zip, completely in control, and again, like in the back of my mind, thinking like, God, this should be 40-0 right now. And then all of a sudden it's just one bad thing after another. And then they put together a 2-minute drive, to tie it, we had a great rush all game, and that definitely was affecting their kicker. And, he misses it to the right, and we win the game. But that was my, like, probably the biggest takeaway. There's a lot of other things that I thought we did really well, and I thought there's a lot of things that, in a win, much easier to correct than a loss. But overall, just the demeanor and then the attitude of like, hey, we still got this. Hang in there, take a deep breath, one play at a time. The scoreboard doesn't matter till the end. And it was neat to see us go through that and get to the other side.
It's a great perspective on all of that stuff, Coach. I love these conversations, man. Thanks again.
Yeah, and thanks for going down rabbit holes with us. I know you probably want to talk football all the time, but we have so much other stuff
So
to talk about.
I did find out some stuff here, guys. I had no idea.
There you go.
So Utah actually has a Dixie Valley.
Yeah, there you go.
The entire southern region of Utah used to grow cotton.
That's it.
Really?
That's what that's what my assistant coach said. Yeah, there's a cotton plantation.
Yeah, refers to the Dixie State, now Utah Tech. It says the broader Dixie name refers to the region in southern Utah known as Utah's Dixie due to its warm climate and history of cotton farming.
Wow. You learn something new every single day. You're never too old to learn something new. I like it.
Hey, and don't apologize about the rabbit holes. Like, my life is 24/7 football. So like, feel free to, we could talk about whatever.
Oh. Yeah, Coach, we'll get you in documentaries. When we get out of the football season, we'll get you to watch the Charlie Sheen thing. We'll get.
I saw some clips of that. That is, the whole weaning off of crack. Like that was.
It's
like,
crazy.
Whoa. Like, okay, that's one way to do it.
I haven't got there yet. I started watching it last night. I was blown away when he was in 1995. They invited me to a cockpit into a commercial airliner, and he starts flying the damn thing. I'm like, what's going on here?
Dude, you haven't even touched the crazy yet, Travis.
Oh man,
you haven't even scratched the surface of the crazy.
Oh,
Coach, that's a good one. Yeah, basically, he had lucky for Charlie Sheen, he had a really reputable, caring crack dealer.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know if I saw that clip on social media or maybe it was like an advertise. I don't know. But then I'm like, wait, what? And then, of course, he's like real appreciative. Man, they really care about me enough to like, I had no idea that they were doing this. It's, wow.
Good stuff, Coach. Hey, good luck out in Utah this weekend. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
All right. Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
See you, buddy.
Yep. Coach Todd Stepsis is joining us on the Rush Radio Show.
So, dude, okay, one of the things with the Charlie Sheen documentary that I didn't realize, do you know, dude, I knew he grew up, obviously he's Emilio Estevez's little brother. I knew that.
Oh, he's Martin Sheen's son.
But did you know they grew up with the Penn brothers?
I didn't know that until I started watching the documentary and Sean Penn. I'm like, wow, I didn't know they went to high school together.
George Clooney grew up in their neighborhood. Rob Lowe grew up in their neighborhood.
How about this? That Grizzly 2 movie that he was in, it was like this it was George Clooney and Laura Dern in Grizzly 2, and I'm like, I go, what? People forget that, even big stars start at the absolute rock bottom.
Listen, I cannot wait for you to get through this thing because it's insane. But Charlie is referenced something here. There's a story that Nicolas Cage has shared multiple times that's out there. Because Nicolas Cage is another one. He and Charlie Sheen were like buddies growing up. And they were crazy. And they're on a commercial flight one time. And Charlie Sheen tells this story of Nicolas Cage gets up and wanders up towards the front of the plane. And the next thing he knows, the cockpit microphone comes on, and it's Nicolas Cage.
And he goes, "Attention passengers, this is your pilot speaking. I'm having medical issues and I'm losing control of the plane."
People start to freak out.
Funny, not funny, right? I mean, now it's funny because you're like, holy crap.
Fire in a theater.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
All
funny
right,
we're hearing it, but if you were there,
you'd be freaking out. Bruno's waiting for us. He'll be back talking with us when we come back on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
The Rush Radio is now on the free TuneIn app, allowing you to enjoy the show on Apple products and Android Auto. Download the free TuneIn app and search The Rush Radio to take Travis and Ross wherever you go.
You've got enough on your plate, so when it's time to reset, grab a Fresca. Bold citrus, zero sugar, zero caffeine. Just clean, crisp refreshment that never goes out of style, whether it's post-work, post-gym, or just a break from the noise. Fresca's got your back. Pick up a Fresca at your local retailer today.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vent, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
At Midwest Landscapes and Hardscapes, we know that the only way to do business is the fair way. That means honest quotes, no surprises, and work that speaks for itself. From the first sketch to the final sweep, we keep you in the loop because communication builds trust, and trust builds beautiful spaces. Midwest Landscapes and Hardscapes, fair, skilled, thorough. Just the way it should be.
The wait is over. The end of summer closeout on 2025 models is here. The most popular 2025 Nissans are priced to move, and we've got something for everyone. From the economical Nissan Kicks to the family favorite Pathfinder or the rugged Frontier, your perfect match is here. Get incredible savings, low financing, and limited time offers before the year ends. But don't wait. Once they're gone, they're gone. Stop into our showroom or visit us online at willisnissan.com.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Pump it up with Unleaded 88.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah. Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Are you looking for some scratch, match, and win tickets? How about Jurassic World lottery tickets or the Iowa Blackout scratch tickets, plus some Mega Millions free play coupons? Well, you can win them on the Iowa Lottery Weekly Woohoo. It's coming up tomorrow. It's a prize pack valued at $90. You can win up to $10,000 on Jurassic World promotion. We've got a Cyclone football promotion, which includes a VIP suite at the Arizona State game, or even a Hawkeye Blackout promotion with VIP tickets, exclusive Iowa Lottery Ironman suite, and more. It's the Iowa Lottery, weekly woohoo, tomorrow on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. It is Thursday. That means we bring in our buddy Bruno, who, are you gearing up for Octoberfest, man? Are you gearing up? Because a week from Saturday is Octoberfest.
Wow. Yeah. Getting ready for the Iowa blackout.
Gonna be real excited.
I see what you did there.
Real excited about that. Yeah.
So you're on Black Speaking of black, are you on Black Island right now? That looks a lot like right next to the sign.
I'm right. There's the sign right there, buddy. This guy knows his geography. This is like anywhere in the world. This guy's pretty good with that. Yeah. You were brought up this morning already, Bruno. That
the best cabin on the island.
I think so too. I'm glad you say that. This is this morning, as soon as I got up into the lodge, that first thing Gary said to me was, "How come we didn't invite Bruno up?" And I'm like, I didn't even tell him I was coming this time.
I've got too much stuff going on.
I figured
I got Octoberfest. I'm deep into Oktoberfest planning right now.
I mean, I feel, and Ross, I don't know if you feel this. Maybe you've had it in the past. I got my first invitation to participate in the, quote, celebrity Stein holding contest.
Oh, dude, I got the email from Mindy, but are you going to do it?
Probably not. It's not that I don't want to. It's just I was just there to get up and drive, hold a Stein, because I'm a weakling. I don't have any muscle mass because I've lost so much weight. And to hold a Stein for probably 25 to 30 seconds and be the first one off the stage, I don't know. I don't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah.
Now you know why Ross says no.
No, yeah.
Do you do it, Bruno? Have you ever done it?
I don't want to embarrass everyone. No, I don't do it. I haven't done it. I seem to always be busy doing something. I was just up in Marshalltown, regional tennis. Got soccer all weekend. I've got another tennis team regional this weekend. I'm senior year of my daughter. You know how it goes.
Oh, is it senior year? Gosh.
Yeah,
Does she know where she's going to go to school yet? She's going to follow Pops to Central?
No. That's a hard no. Followed closely by a pretty hard no to Iowa. That's both of our colleges, my wife and I's. I think she might be going up to St. Paul somewhere.
Oh, nice. I love St. Paul. That's a cool area. I love Iowa City. I love going over there. I always loved it as like a party school when I was a party place. I shouldn't say school. As a party place when I was in that college aged. And then I was there.
The Iowa blackout.
Yeah. I was there. I tailgated up there. I loved that. I was there a couple weeks ago for a concert. And man, in fact, Travis, it was I won't say who it was, but it was a conversation we had the other day with somebody who was talking about that campus. I had never realized how that campus is integrated with the city. Like when you go into Ames, it feels like there's the campus.
Yes.
You know where the campus is, or at least it has a feeling. In Iowa City, you're just kind of like in the city, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's part of the campus. That's for some people and not for some people.
I'd probably say I'm more of the Iowa State blackout. Like I knew when I partied there that if I would have gone to Iowa State, I would have been in Dean Wormer's office telling me about how I was fat, drunk, and stupid.
No way to go through life, son. No way to go through life.
Yeah, no, that would have been severe trouble. I was just regaling. We have a new employee to the company, and she just graduated Iowa State, and I told her a few of my Ames stories on campus. Not good, but I partied at Iowa State when I was 16.
Wow, you started young.
My first kegger, 10 kegs of Budweiser.
When you were 16?
Yeah, my buddy's older brother was going to Iowa State. He's like, "Hey, you want to go to Ames?"
Always it's the buddy's older brother.
I know, right?
Yeah. I'm going to disappoint both of you. I didn't drink in high school at all. Had many opportunities. I was not a high school drinker. I was
a really good kid in high school, dude. I was a part of a thing called the Do Crew. Have we talked about this?
Yes.
Some of my friends are cracking up right now. Flag is just screaming nerd into his radio right now.
I just didn't want to get kicked off the band.
the baseball
The
team.
marching band. I know.
Yeah, it was for us. It was most of the athletes were in this group because the athletic director was the head of it, and so that was like a big thing to be. You didn't want to, you wanted to stay in good graces.
I'm not going to give Ross a hard time, but Travis, you call yourself a Catholic. When
That's fair.
The day I turned 16, I landed in Acapulco, and that night was the first night I was ever screaming drunk. I drank a 2-foot tall drink.
Were you with your folks?
No, we were on a school trip with the Spanish class. Partied it up, all of us. All of us were like intramural sports. There was nothing the school could do to there's nothing it could do to punish us by taking something away because we we didn't do anything. So then I ended up being the best man at my wedding. Several years later, of course, I told him what we did, and they all went down, and they were like, they weren't even trying to hide it. Super in all the teachers' faces. They come back. They missed 1/3 of the football season. They're like, you can't do that. They're like, well, they did last year. It's like, yeah, well, they weren't on the football team. The running back for the team that got busted, he ended up with 1,200 yards that season and he only rushed for 6 games that year.
My thing would have been it's legal there. It's legal there. That would have been my argument. Hey, it was legal.
Yeah, the pothead's defense.
Yeah, exactly.
It's legal in Colorado.
I want to talk to you about expansion. I know you guys are building the exchange that's getting ready to open.
No, false. The Empire.
Or the Empire. Sorry, that's my bad. So I apologize.
For a minute, I was like,
this exchange is already opened and closed in Des Moines, so I don't.
Okay, sorry, I got the
well,
name.
So is the Empire. So is the Empire, but
the Empire, and so you're getting ready to expand and do something new. I want to bring up a brewery, Big Grove. They just opened a massive place in Omaha. Mm-hmm. I believe they opened a pretty big place in Lincoln. I think they're going to Kansas City. I mean, here I thought breweries were like contracting, not expanding. Is it the beer concept, you think? Is it the restaurant concept? Where does that capital come from just to be able to expand that massively and scale like that?
I wouldn't know thing one about Big Grove. I will say that we are not expanding. I guess in a way
you're replacing.
We're replacing. We did expand to Peachtree's old location, which is actually more of a tell of what's happening with the brewing industry than a brewery that wants to open more. And what we did there though is we are contracted because we are at Drake, Cedar Rapids, and Ankeny, and Des Moines downtown. We've contracted and then expanded again, realizing that we went out into the world and some of the stuff that we did out in the world worked. So Jay Christensen and his group owns the old Peachtree space. And they asked me one day, it just timing, it worked out. We moved in. It works. We still had 3.5 years left on our lease at the old Fonks. So we are opening the Empire. That's not really expanding. We're just kind of holding our ground while still doing something new and interesting for our customers. It's money to burn. It must be some kind of so much money you don't know what to do with it. It's kind of an ego thing to go to do that much stuff. Or maybe they really need the money. I don't know, but that just seems. I would say that Big Grove's a little close to home, I understand, but if you were to mention a brewery that no one heard of in Iowa, say this was happening in California, you would be like, this is crazy. Why would they be doing that? Because there is for the first time more closures than openings in the brewing industry. I saw I think it was a Minnesota brewery. The first bid on their 40-barrel tanks was like somebody had placed the bid at 40 cents.
Oh my gosh.
These breweries are not, fractions of pennies on the dollar is what places are going for right now. And And from what I understand, Big Grove actually might not have it all worked out in Omaha. I don't know if they're open yet.
They opened. They had a hard time getting a liquor license. That was very, very hard. I mean, it was like the liquor commission was not going to give them a liquor, which I don't know all the rules when it comes to liquor commissions. They seem a bit absurd.
So they did get it.
Yeah. So well, I know that Owen's girlfriend Lizzie was down there the other day. So I don't know if they're just serving
I've heard
food.
that they can only sell beer produced on site.
Oh wow.
Each state has their own rules.
Yeah.
And you know, they went into Omaha and said finally Nebraska has good beer, so I'm sure that really made all the other breweries happy. But you know,
what's the dumbest thing you've ever encountered when it comes to rules? I'm going to give you one that happened over here, and this is interesting. A friend of mine opened a bar called the Barber Shop, and he happened to get a place in Ross, you're familiar with Omaha, how it has like little neighborhoods, right?
Yeah,
and this was in the Blackstone neighborhood. He got the building that his dad actually ran a barber shop out of, turned it into a bar called the Barber Shop. The Barber and Hair Commission came down on him and made him change the name because it was false in misrepresenting what you're not a barber shop. He went, explained everything. Well, this is my dad's shop. We're a bar. And because
he had just called it 4 words, the bar, Burr shop.
To me, and he put the barbershop pull out that he had to take all that down, all that stuff. I mean,
probably the barber mafia in Nebraska is strong, I guess.
It must be. But I mean, you've opened a lot of places. What's the dumb?
I've got one that Bruno, the one that I remember you telling me about, and maybe you've got another one that's going through your head. One that's really stupid in Des Moines, Travis. I think it's dumb. Maybe Bruno can tell me it's not. A business can only advertise the sign outside of your business has to be is relative to the size of your business. So
yeah, it's all frontage. It's square foot of your facade.
So you can't. So like the place like the library, Bruno's got that great big wall on the west side of the library that faces University. You can see the entire side of the building. It'd be really cool if he could put something there that said the library, right?
Like he even put a big mural up, right?
Well,
he can put a mural.
100% that is grandfathered in because the signs we have on that building are way too big.
Oh, okay.
That one. You know, Fongs, we had to get a variance for the new Fongs because the first sign we came out with was okay. The one we have now, it was over 50% too big for the building.
Travis, it's not gaudy. Like you don't go by it and go, "Oh my God, that sign's enormous for that building." What? So Bruno,
but that's just a city thing. Have you gone to Pella? Pella has you have to have the facade has to look like a Dutch facade. It has to look like a building in Amsterdam. The chicken, they wouldn't in West Des Moines, they wouldn't allow us to have a chicken out in front because that was too big or whatever, and they said you can't do that. I'm like, well, why can't we? This is in the middle of the country. Who cares? It's like, well, this is West Des Moines, and we don't want people out by Jordan Creek thinking they could put big alligators in front of their building or whatever silly thing.
That to me was always one of the dumb ones. I couldn't. When you told me that one time, I'm like, what? We have a city ordinance about how big a sign can be for a building?
We had the clown mafia shut us down for clown attack a few years ago. Well, they wanted to. They were like, you're giving clowns a bad name.
Yeah,
Sincerely.
You're giving. Oh God.
What?
So it was clown attack. So we started off. You'd be in a bar. We had it all pre-set up. We caught with the owners. Hey, this is what we're gonna do. Strict rules in the clown group. You had to wear face makeup. You couldn't just kind of half-ass it. So we started trickling into these bars, 1, 2, 5 at a time. Next thing you know, the whole bar's full of clowns. 2 school buses full. Word got out, and the clowns, the people that worked as clowns on a daily basis, were not happy. We were giving clowns a bad name. You know.
I think John Wayne Gacy did that.
Well, now, and here's the thing. That was just please, would you stop doing that thing? It wasn't like the barbers gathering together and saying, but that's just that's a little silly because actually, if you think about it, that place is actually holding up the barber industry. It's sort of like saying you can't call it the High Life Lounge.
Exactly.
You're putting. It's not like they're like opening up a place and then saying barbers are dumb.
Yeah, right.
They suck. It's actually kind of cool. Here's the one that's funny, and it doesn't happen like it used to because we're just this May we're going to turn 20, but every spring people rolled into the bait shop wanted to get bait, and they were really mad at us that we didn't have bait at our place because
I need some worms.
As you may guess, you Google bait in Des Moines, and we're at the top, and it probably upsets a few, actual bait shops. But think about it, Des Moines, not really like it. People do fish, but it's not like we're Okoboji or we're not.
And luckily, the Des Moines big bait mafia hasn't come after you yet.
We've been okay.
Okay,
we've been
batten down the hatches.
So I would have here's a good one. I was just thinking that that you guys can pick the thing you want to do, and you might, maybe it's something different than this, but I was thinking of the Camino. There was on Labor Day on weekend here on Peak in Colorado. The hikers got a special surprise at 14,000 feet. When they got to the top, hot day, they were welcomed by an ice cream cone costume, a guy wearing an ice cream cone costume and sunglasses with a fake mustache. Was unnamed man who hauled up ice cream sandwiches in a pack with dry ice. One hiker dubbed him legendary. They rewarded the climbers with a sweet treat. The ice cream was just what we wanted. Said Blaine.
This guy's
Griffin.
insane. This guy's insane. He dresses
up
like.
And then Griffin said he saw the man zooming down the mountain once the ice cream was gone, without his costume. But this guy is insane to go all the way up there. He probably packed up the costume too. But can you imagine going there? Can you imagine being on the Camino and like maybe Ross, you could be handing out communion or paninis?
I'm not allowed to do that. I found out.
I'm just kidding. Well, have you ever seen? Speaking of clowns, have you ever seen the movie Shakes the Clown?
Yes, Bobcat Goldthwait.
He was handing out Body of Binky. They were like they had like a religious service at the bar, and they were like Body of Binky.
Shakes.
I think they were like giving it like probably like tabs of acid or something.
This is like vague memory. I think I barely remember that.
The movie starts with this kid peeing at his house in their bathroom, and Bobcat sits up through the stream.
Oh, that's my God!
Because
so no, I wouldn't have watched this one. No, that'd have been enough right there. That they turned off.
Dude, that movie is so great.
No, it's not a classic.
It's a classic.
I've never heard anybody. It barely rang a bell.
Cult classic.
It's a cult classic.
Hey, in the clown world, it's a classic.
And you would know.
Got real close to those clowns.
Yeah, well, I mean, I never got my license, but I have performed as a clown in the community twice in Des Moines, and I remember most of it.
I've been called a clown so many times I can't count.
Some other things that are happening, Octoberfest. So the Octoberfest has moved to Ankeny. Mindy has moved it up there into the Prairie Trail area. Same Octoberfest, new location, lots of fun, lot more accessible, easier to get to. So the original Octoberfest is moving up there. The site of the original Octoberfest, the Hessen House, we're doing a lot of stuff. And as you know, and may not know, I say this almost every year, the Octoberfest of this year is September 20th to October 5th. It generally starts the last Sunday of October or of September, it ends the last Sunday of October, or the first Sunday of October. Start over. It ends on the first Sunday of October, unless it's October 3rd, which is a public holiday. But it always ends there, and then you count back the days before that. And it starts this year on September 20th through the 5th. It's usually about a 20-day thing. and it's been going on. This year is the 190th anniversary of
Wow.
Oktoberfest.
190 years.
Simple? Why don't we make it? Why isn't Oktoberfest October?
Just October.
Why?
It was October. It was October. The original one, King Ludwig and Teresa got married in 1810. It was in October, but they started to realize quickly that October's cold as hell in Bavaria, so they ended it then and moved it to into in September, so they had a little bit warmer times, and that's why it happened. But here we are, 190 years later, and we're celebrating Oktoberfest at the Hessen House. We've been doing it for years. We have, of course, your traditional Oktoberfest, but we also have some bottles and cans of Toppling, local breweries, Toppling Goliath, Reclaim Rail, Sierra Nevada, Line and Kugels, Back Pocket, Millstream, Vorsteiner, Founders, Surly, Odell, and Exile Oktoberfest. We're having the first this week. We're going to have this Sunday is our first day, and we will be having a polka band. The polka band is going to be this Sunday. This Sunday kicks off with the Fritz Schnitzel's Walkabout Polkas.
Fritz Schnitzel. I like that name, Fritz Schnitzel.
So we're going to have specials every day on food and drinks and all sorts of stuff through the Oktoberfest all the way through October 5th. So head on down to the Hessen House. It's always a good time. Hessen House is his only place. There's nothing like it in Iowa, more or less. You may find stuff further near the rivers, but in central Iowa, we're the home of all things German, and it's been great. So
excellent stuff, Bruno.
Thanks,
always a fun
buddy.
conversation
Miss you
with
up
you
here, man. We'll be talking about you throughout the day. We'll be missing you, buddy.
Next year I'm in for anything and everything. This year I needed to get some stuff done.
So listen, we actually just got the dates from Danielle. Don't mean to hijack this, Travis, but it looks like maybe September 9th, something like that. So I'll get you those dates, and we'll get the ball rolling.
July is just was a one-off.
July was a one-off. The bugs were crazy, dude.
Oh, but was the fishing good? They said it's good. Is the fishing good right now?
We're gonna find out today.
Oh, you just got there.
We just got here last night, so about to find out. I feel sorry for these sons of bitches out in this lake right now.
Oh, you just said you're gonna stop by
hooks all day.
You stopped by Borderland on the way through.
Bruno, good to see you on a Thursday afternoon, buddy.
See you, Bruno.
You bet. Take care.
See ya. You're going to have to tell me the inside joke there, because I don't even know the inside joke of that.
Weird.
That's what he has for me. Weird. I'll take weird.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. We're back tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. Don't forget, it's the Iowa Lottery Woohoo, weekly Woohoo, your chance to pick up a $90 prize pack from the Iowa Lottery. Thanks for listening and watching the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
Body Armor. Real hydration with electrolytes. No artificial dyes and coconut water. Choose better. Body Armor.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Are you thinking about buying a home this year? Start by getting pre-approved with Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines to see how much you can qualify for and what loan programs meet your needs. Gary can get you pre-approved in 30 minutes or less with a pre-approval letter to you. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA loans along with FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the RushRadio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
Hey everybody, Mason Miller, sales manager out here at Willis Infinity, and I'm excited to announce some great things we have going on this month. Right now we have retail cash of $10,000 on all 2025 QX80s and $8,000 all 2025 QX60s. For more information, come visit our showroom or online at willisinfinity.com.
Bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking.
Looking for the perfect golf escape? Experience links-style golf right here in Ames at Coldwater Golf Links. With rolling fairways, large greens, and unique routing, it's golf the way it's meant to be played. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, you'll love our course's welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. Grab your clubs, book a tee time, and make every round unforgettable. Coldwater Golf Links, where great golf leads to great memories. Visit coldwatergolf.com to book your round today.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.